Hello everyone. It is the first week of September and I am so excited because for me in my heart that means that it's fall, even though it's very hot here still. I did mention this before in one of my last videos. I just love to stretch out the fall feeling as long as I can, which means using my fall ink colors, drinking my fall flavored coffees, which would be pumpkin, obviously maple, those kind of flavors, and hopefully very soon getting to wear some sweaters and enjoy cooler weather. But for now, I wanted to go ahead and swatch my top 15 favorite fall inks. There could have been so many more that I could have included here because I consider all colors, not all colors, but most greens, browns, oranges, yellows, deeper reds to be in the fall color family. But especially for fall, I like deeper tones, jewel tones, more muted forms of those colors. Not in all cases, like orange, bright orange and red, I feel can be very fallish because of the way that the leaves turn. So yeah, anyways, I just wanted to pick out my top favorites so that I didn't go too overboard. And I wanted to try and use only inks that I've used at least once, but hopefully multiple times and have really loved and enjoyed. As well as I tried primarily to pick bottles that I have, because usually if I have a bottle of ink, that means that I've tried at least a sample first. Not in all cases, but usually. So yeah, let's get started. I have grouped them into color families. So let's start with the greens. The first one is a very old favorite of mine, and it is Monteverde Olivine. Monteverde Olivine is just what it sounds like, a beautiful deep olive color. And it has the Monteverde ITF technology, which means that it is very well lubricated. So it's an ink that I like to use in any pens that I consider to be or fear to be dry, just to kind of like test them out, because this ink is very, very wet. Also, I'm trying to emulate Julia here's ink swatching style because I love the way she uses her little spoons and makes like these irregular shaped splats. I think it looks cool with the way that it shades and stuff. So totally stealing that. And then Sherry is the one who sent me this very precious little tool here. I don't know if you would even call that a spoon, but I love it. Let me try and move this a little bit more. And then I am swatching with this glass dip pen that I got on Amazon, and I will try to remember to link it below. But this is Monteverde. I'm writing at a very awkward angle because the tripod's like right in front of me in a weird position today. But yes, this is a gorgeous deep green. I have to actually avoid using this in really wet pens because the ink is so wet. So I love a reliable wet ink, and that's why I love Monteverde as a brand overall, because I think all of the inks that I've tried from them have been like that, and they're also really inexpensive. So yeah, I've used Olivine a lot since I started my fountain pen journey. I think that was one of the earlier inks that I discovered. The next one is Dominant Industry Pearl Series, and it's called Autumn Forest. I did just shake up the shimmer, but it has a beautiful rose gold shimmer in it. You can see kind of from the swatch there. I've had, I think, 2 samples of this, and just loved it so much that I finally was able to get the bottle, which I was really excited about. I think I got it for my birthday this year for myself. This one I had in the beginning trouble finding a pen that I liked it in with the shimmer and just the saturation of the base ink. A lot of the pens didn't perform the way that I wanted them to. But then I tried it in a Pilot Kakuno, and that worked perfectly in a medium nib. And I think now I have other pens that it would work really well into, so I'm excited to try some of those this season. It's funny how seasonal my brain is, because like for the last several months, you guys know I've only been wanting really bright colors, and the thought of using any of these like really fall color inks was like so not appealing to me, but now that I feel like it's fall, like I'm kind of over the bright colors. And in my mind a month ago, I would have never been over the bright colors. So yeah, I really do shift with the seasons in my ink preferences for sure. Now this ink I think is a little bit drier, but not, I wouldn't call it dry, but it's definitely drier than some inks. Okay, the next one was a trade from Planning in PDX. And she so generously sent me a few inks, and this was one of my favorites. This is Wearing Gold Path. Look at that. And it is so gorgeous. I've used it a few times. I only have a little bit left, and I definitely want to get a bottle of this at some point because it is stunning. I think it just got a little drop on the page there. It has a lot of shimmer, but it performs really well in the pens that I've tried it in. And it's just a super pretty, like, you can see yellowy green. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Wait till the shimmer pops too. Hopefully I'm getting a lot of shimmer in these samples. And it's wet. See that? How that's coming off the dip pen? Okay, I did some other things there and I didn't there, so I'm probably just not gonna do those anymore. So that is Wearing Gold Path. Let me, maybe I'll zoom in a little bit more. Okay, next is Diamine Safari, and this is from their 150th anniversary collection. I've used this twice, but I didn't love the experience because I kind of felt like it was dry, which was surprising for me because Diamine inks usually are not. But it could have been the pens that I was using it in. The first time I used it was in the Esterbrook, and the second time was in a Gin House. So that Esterbrook that I have, you guys all know my saga with that. It is very dry writing. So I am going to use this in another pen that I know is a good writer or a wet flowing writer, just to see. But I love the color. I just really love this light olive color. So that's that one. And then the only real teal that I have here is Ferris Wheel Press Cloak and Forest. And it is a greenish teal base with a blue shimmer. And I could have included so many teals because I love so many teals. However, this is the only one that I have a bottle of that I used extensively. And I used this so much last fall. And I just love this ink so much, and I'm so excited to use it again. I haven't really, like I said, been in the mood for this color. And I've also had a lot of other teals that I've been trying throughout this year, so I wasn't like thinking about this one as much, but I loved this one so much when I used it last fall. Or maybe it was the fall before, but I don't know. It was in a fall time. But anyways, look at that. Oh my gosh, it is so, so beautiful. It looks darker on screen. I can see more of the shading on with my eyes, but you'll see it as it dries. But oh my goodness, yes. The other ones that I would mention that I really love from Ferris Wheel Press particularly are Edwards Gardens. I truly love Edwards Gardens, and it's very similar to this, I think. I think it just has a different shimmer color, and the base color might be slightly different, but it is still a teal, and it's super gorgeous. And then the other one is Ferris Wheel Press Knitted Nettle, which is a teal with a rose gold shimmer. And they all are really wet writing. They all have shimmer and perform really well with that shimmer. Like the shimmer doesn't clog the pens, never had any issues with them. But I only have a sample of Knitted Nettle, and I used it one time, but I want to use it again. I love that color. Nicole sent that one to me. And then Edward's Gardens, I've been wanting to buy a bottle of. I just haven't. So all three of those I could have put on here, but this is the one that I feel that I've used the most. And then, of course, there's other teals like Piloted Roshizuku Seal Row, I think would be great. I love Birmingham Salamander. It's a little too light for me. Not too light, but it's a little lighter than what I would consider like a true like jewel toned fall color. It's starting to show the red sheen too. I don't know if you can see it yet, but I'll hold it up later. Anyways, I love that so much. Okay, let's do browns next. So, okay. Yes, this first one, you guys know I just received. This is Antique Sanguine from Birmingham Pen Company. And I already used up the fill that I had in my fountain pen that I inked up with it, which is pretty good. I mean, I didn't fill it fully, but I did fill it like probably a third of the way. And yeah, I already used it up, partly because that nib was a very wet nib and it just, the ink kind of gushed out. But I do love this for a fall color. I think this is a gorgeous, like, very red leaning brown, or a very brown leaning deep orange. I'm not really sure. In person, it looks a lot more red orange undertone than it does on camera, which is so frustrating. These Birmingham inks, they are hard to capture. Every time I try and like video record them, they look different. They look so different on the paper than they do on the video. Nevertheless, I love this color for fall. And it is lubricated. It's really nice to write with. Yeah, I'm happy with this ink. Okay, another brown that I've only used, I think, twice, but I really love is Cinnabon from last year's Ink Vent by Diamine. Now, this is one of their scented inks. It does smell like one of those cinnamon scented pine cones that you can get during fall, which is not an unpleasant smell for me. It doesn't bother me. I like the smell of cinnamon. It is a little bit strong, but once it's down on the paper and it's in the pen, like, you don't really smell it. So it's not bothersome to me. But because it is a scented ink, it is also a very, very wet ink. Oh, this reminds me a lot of another color that I'm going to swatch, which is Birmingham Root Cellar. We'll do that one next so we can compare. But anyways, my point is I love this color, and because it is so wet because of the scented quality, if you use it in a broader nib, it does feather on the paper. But if you use it in a fine nib or an extra fine nib that's not very wet writing, it performs so nicely. So I had used this in my my Majon A1 which is a Vanishing Point dupe, and it has a fine nib, or maybe it was an extra fine, I can't remember. But anyways, it's a dry writer, and I put this ink in it, and it performed so beautifully in there, and it made that pen feel not dry, and it didn't feather. There were no issues, and I just really love the color of it. It's such a gorgeous, warm colored yellow, tan, brown. So yeah, we'll see those more up close later, but I really, really like this one a lot. I don't think I'll ever buy a bottle of it. I think I have other colors that are similar to it, like Root Cellar, which we'll look at now. But for having it, I'm excited to use it up, and I am enjoying it. So here is Birmingham Pen Company Root Cellar, and I think this is my favorite out of the ones that I just received. I just love this color. I am a sucker for yellow inks, and yellow inks that are deeper, maybe more mustard toned, or that lean brown, or that lean orange. Like, I don't know, I just love them. And I don't know if you guys would consider this a yellow. It's hard to say. I think it's either a yellow leaning brown or a brown leaning yellow. And I love it. Look how much cinnamon is feathering. That's crazy. But yeah, in a pen, I swear it doesn't do that. A fine pen. But yeah, I think these are very similar colors. So I'm glad that I have this one. And it's inked up right now. And it is such a nice writing experience. I have it in the AdMock M400 with an extra fine nib, but that is a wet writing nib. But this ink is also a wet writing ink. Not too wet, but very pleasant and just a lovely autumnal yellowish brown color. I really enjoy it so much, and I'm so happy that I got it. So yeah, I think those two are pretty similar. That is crazy how much that's feathering. Okay, next is another old favorite, but the one that I just got a really big bottle of, and it is Monteverde Moonstone. I have loved this ink for so long. This was another one of the first inks that I got. And again, I love it because of its wetness. I love it because of its color, its performance in pens. It's just a great ink. Did I need a 100 milliliter bottle of it? No, I probably should have gotten the smaller bottle. However, it was just such a good deal. I think this 100 milliliter bottle was like, I want to say it was like $11, and the smaller bottle like this was like 9 something. So I was like, well, why don't I just get a bigger one? But honestly, I'm sure I will never get through this bottle, and I'd be happy to send samples of this to anyone because I have so much. But yeah, you can see it's this gorgeous like mushroom mid-toned brown. I consider this to be a neutral brown. To me, it doesn't look like it leans either warm. Well, it's definitely not leaning warm, but it could be leaning slightly cool. But for me, it's pretty neutral to my eye. You can see how wet that is coming off the nib. And yeah, I don't know what to say. I love it. And then the last of this brown category that I have is Ferris Wheel Press Beaver Dam Brown. And this, I honestly can't tell you why I have not gotten a bottle of it yet, because I have gotten, I think I have 3 samples of this, and they're all almost gone. But every time I start to run out of it, or it starts to get low in the sample vial, I order another one because I don't want to run out. I just truly love this brown so much. It is a deep dark brown with a purple undertone. It is very nice and wet writing. I don't know. I just love the tone of brown that this is. It's just so pretty. It's so rich. It feels really like nice to write with. It depends on what nib you have it in, but it can tend to look black just because of how dark it is. But I think if I had to choose only one dark brown, I would choose this one. I also like Walnut from last year's ink vent, but it definitely has a warmer undertone, and I don't think I've seen another brown, or I have experienced myself another brown that has such a purple undertone, and I really like that about this. Along with its like wetness and the way that it feels to write with it, it's very smooth and just beautiful. So let's look at these so far. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. I love them. Okay, we're a little over halfway there. So let's do, sorry, I had to take a drink of coffee. Let's do Van Diemen's Queenstown Gold Mine next. This is a brown that has a lot of gold shimmer. It's a lighter brown, I would say. But oh my gosh, it's such a gorgeous color. And so, so very shimmery. Look at that. I would say it's like the color of, like the inks that I see that are called like whiskey or brandy or things like that. It looks like that to me. It's just this really gorgeous brown orange with that gold shimmer that makes it look, oh, it's so beautiful. Look at that, so pretty. It has like this red quality to it and like a bright dark orange quality to it. Let me zoom in. Oh, it's just so, so pretty. I have used this alone in pens and it has performed well in broader pens. I think the broadest I've used it in is a medium actually, because I don't really have any broad nibs except for one that I never use. But yeah, it performed fine in there. In finer nibs, it has clogged a couple of my pens. And then I'll also combine it with other inks. I think my favorite pen that I ever used it in was the Jinhao X750, which was a medium nib, or is a medium nib, but it has a very wet flow. And I remember this being so beautiful and performing so well in there. But yeah, look at that gorgeousness. It's just, I mean, for me, I think that is the epitome of a fall color. And then next we'll just do the other Van Diemen's that I have here, which is called Autumn Morning. So of course it had to be included. But it's another color that I absolutely love and have inked up at least 5 times. And it is a yellow with gold shimmer that's just so bright and magical and happy and wonderful. It's definitely an orange leaning yellow. I've inked this up without the shimmer. I've inked it up with the shimmer. Again, this is another one that can clog and has clogged for me some of my finer nibs. But I have also had pens that it works in fine, like a TWSBI Diamond medium nib. It's been fine in. I had it in actually the TWSBI Diamond Iris with a fine nib, and it was okay in that. It struggled a little bit with the shimmer with that fine nib, but that's also a very dry fine nib. But I think if you had a really wet fine nib or like a flex, or like I said, the TWSBI medium nibs have been fine for me with this. Yeah, it's gorgeous. And I've used this to combine with other inks as well. In fact, one of my pens right now is a combination of this and Diamine Pumpkin. Oh my gosh, gorgeous. So gorgeous. Okay, the next one is another one that I used quite a lot. I think it was last year, and I had this inked up for a long time. I don't think I inked it up like in multiple pens, but I had it inked up in the same pen consecutively for like 2.5 or 3 months, and I just love this color. It's another one that I really want to buy a bottle of, and it is also from that same 150th anniversary collection from Diamine, and it is called Blood Orange. And you can see it is orange, but a deeper orange with a red undertone, almost like a terracotta. I would be interested to see how this compares to their terracotta from that same line, because they do have an ink called terracotta from the 150th anniversary, but I have never tried it. But yeah, I love this orange. So, 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 so beautiful. And this one is not very wet, but it's a wet ink. Never felt dry or had any issues with that one. And then the last orange was a gift from Kim, ADH Done, and was so generous. I have another bottle here that she sent at the same time that was also a gift. But it is Ferris Wheel Press Hardy Harvest, and it has a lighter orange shimmer in a deeper orange ink base, and it's just so pretty. I can't wait. I've been thinking about this one for quite some time. I'm definitely inking it up in October, and I'm really excited to use it. Ferris Wheel Press shimmer inks for me, I have always performed well. I've never had any problems with them. Even the ones that other people have said that they've had issues with, I just luckily have not. Like Sugar and Spite, never had an issue with that one, but I had it in a wet writing pen. So anyways, I really enjoy Ferris Wheel Press shimmer inks. I think that they're well done, except for the lighter ones. The lighter ones do not work well for me. But like these more rich, darker tone colors, they've always been good for me. Oh, so pretty. Look at this whole page right here is just making me so excited. I love this for fall. I might just ink up all of these next month. That would be 15 pens, and that's well within my normal. Okay, and then I have two reddish inks. We'll start with this one, which I have inked up this month actually, and it is Royal Rhubarb. So I would say this is a pinky red. I'm loving it so much in the AdMock M800 with a fine nib. It's been amazing. And it's so pretty, but I would consider this to be a fall color because of its jewel toned nature. It's not too bright. It's a little bit more of a muted color, I guess. Like it's not a bright red, it's not a bright purple, but well, it's not purple at all. But yeah, it does really look like the color of rhubarb for sure to me. Yeah, and it's just really nice. And you can see, well, I don't know if you can see, but like a third of the bottle is gone already. My eyelid has been twitching for like a week and it's so annoying. It's doing it right now. Okay, so yeah, look at that. So pretty. I love it. And then the other one is a bottle that I have. It's Diamine Wine Divine. It is a beautiful, rich burgundy, maybe Bordeaux, maybe maroon, however, whatever you would want to classify it as, with a gold shimmer. I have a lot of these types of inks too, this like maroon, deep red kind of color, but this is the one that I have a bottle of. I actually do think this one has felt a little bit dry to me in the pens that I have tried it in. So again, I'm excited to try it in specifically the new AdMocks that I've gotten because those have just such a really good flowing nib that I think that they would be able to handle a lot of dry inks. But yeah, I love the tone of this. And I would also say probably like Diamine Bah Humbug from the ink vent last year would be another one in this category. It has a similar base color, but it just has a more red shimmer in it. So I just thought this one is more fall. And also I've used this one more, so I wanted to include it. It's coming off the nib really wet. I wonder if I just used it in pens that I shouldn't have. I haven't used it in a while, so I'm definitely going to try this again soon. I should have done like more scribbles for each one. That would have been cute to do that. Oh well. But you can see it is similar in tone to the Royal Rhubarb, but has more of a purple undertone, a deep red undertone, and has that gorgeous gold shimmer. So definitely consider that to be a really nice fall color. I also want to try Cult Pens. Cult Pens and Diamine have an exclusive together, and they have one that's very similar to this. I think it's called Maple Leaf. They have like a Muddy Bucket and then Muddy Puddle, I think, as well. They're all shimmer inks, and they're all like in a fall series, but I haven't tried them yet, but I would love to. So that is this side of the page, and that's the last of the inks I'm going to swatch. But let's go through and look at all of them up close. Look at that together. Oh my gosh. I definitely should have done more on this side. I love this kind of color. And like I said, I have more that I could have used, but I just wanted to kind of like narrow the criteria down to ones that I have either used a lot or have bottles of. So yeah, gorgeous. Okay, so let's look up close. So Olivine has some nice shading in the swatch with like some black, almost a sheen around the edge, but definitely haloing around the edges. Let me try. I don't want to move the tripod, never mind. But in writing, it is pretty like standard. You don't see much shading or edge or sheen or anything in there. It's just like a basic nice olive green that's really well performing. And then that Dominant Industry Autumn Forest, we can see that lovely rose gold, or I don't think it's copper, but I think it's definitely rose gold shimmer. And I'm not sure if you can see it. Let me get closer. But it is in the writing as well. And when I have it in the Pilot Kakuno, I can see it in the writing as well. And then we have Wearing Gold Path, which is a lighter olive color, but definitely leaning more yellow with that really pretty same olive shade of shimmer. And oh, I love it. Diamine Safari is another just standard ink that has some nice shading in the swatch. It also did have shading in the pen, at least the first pen. I don't remember for the second pen, but in the Esther book, it did have some nice shading. But I think that's because that pen was so dry. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I really like that tone of green. And then we have the Ferris Wheel Press Cloak and Forest. Oh, so beautiful. Look at that sheen and that shimmer along with that gorgeous teal green base. I think that it is a teal, but it does lean more green in the base. And then in the writing as well, the shimmer is distributed very nicely, and it did that in the pen as well. I never had any issues with like the shimmer not showing up or anything. And you can also see a little bit of the red sheen around the letters, but in writing, I don't remember seeing that. Then we have Birmingham Pen Company Antique Sanguine, which is, I don't know, it's such a unique color. I thought it was like Colorverse Office Series brown, but now I think this is lighter than that and more pink undertoned. So yeah, I think this is a really unique and pretty ink and perfect for fall. Then we have Diamine Cinnabon, which feathered horribly. But I do like the tone of it, and it did work really well in my finer nib. But compared to Root Cellar, they are very similar. Very, very similar. I think I would say Root Cellar leans a little bit more yellow in its undertone, but not by much. And then Root Cellar also has this really pretty goldish green sheen starting to develop. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. However, I've never seen that in the writing, but pretty in the swatch. And I just love this color. It's been performing so beautifully. It's such a nice peanut butter color, and I love it. I really love it. Then we have Monteverde Moonstone, which is a lighter, more muted brown. Again, I think it's more of a neutral brown, maybe leaning slightly cool colored, cool toned, but so pretty. It does have some shading in the writing depending on the nib you're using, but definitely in the swatch. And yeah, I don't know. Would you consider this like a gray brown? So pretty. I love it. Then we have Ferris Wheel Press Beaver Dam Brown, which is, again, a standard ink. So nothing like really exciting going on with it other than I love how it performs. I love how it feels when I write with it. Very smooth, very wet, very demure. Oh my gosh, I swore I was not going to say that. And I said it. Dang it. Anyways, really pretty deep brown with a purple undertone that I love. Monteverde Brown Sugar used to be my favorite dark brown, but this is definitely my favorite dark brown after having tried it. Okay, and then we have Van Diemen's Queenstown Gold Mine. Just insane how pretty that is. A very nice brandy color. Sorry, I'm like hitting this spot on the tripod. A very nice brandy color. Tons of shimmer. Looks really pretty in the writing. Never had an issue with like the shimmer not showing up in the writing. I mean, how could it not? Because there's so much of it in there. Obviously the swatch is popping off. Looks like a firework or something. But yeah, one of my favorites that I've ever had from Van Diemen's. In fact, every shimmer Van Diemen's ink that I've had, I have loved so much. Yeah. And then we have the Autumn Morning, which is obviously very yellow in comparison and has that beautiful gold shimmer. In person, it looks more orange leaning, but I love this. I had this in my TWSBI Diamond medium nib, the clear one, for a while last year, and it was so nice. It performed so well in there, and I'm looking forward to using this again just by itself. I do have it mixed with something else, like I said. Okay, then Diamine 150th Blood Orange. Lots of pretty shading and a little bit of haloing in the swatch. But in the writing itself, it is a pretty standard ink. In the pen, it does look more like this lighter orange compared to this darker orange, but that would depend on the pen that you use it in. But a very pretty ink that performs really well. And then we have Ferris Wheel Press Hardy Harvest, which hasn't fully dried yet, but oh, so gorgeous. I love that it's like a muted orange, a deeper orange. The shimmer shows up well in the writing. Hopefully you can see that. Not dry at all. Worked really well in my pen. I think I only had it in one pen, but yeah, I love it. So excited to use this again. And then Ferris Wheel Press Royal Rhubarb, another standard ink. Lots of black halo in the swatch. But in writing, it looks like this. And it's just a really pretty... It does have actually some good shading in my Admoc M800. Even though it's a very wet nib, it does shade a bit in that. And to me, in that pen, it looks more of like a rosy, pinky, deep pink red. And it's just so pretty. I love it a lot. I'm so glad I have that. And then Diamine Wine Divine. Oh my gosh, such a gorgeous burgundy color with gold shimmer. And in the writing, you can see it is fully present. It is there. And I'm excited to use that one again too. So there they are, my fall ink choices. Again, I think I might just ink all of these up next month, but maybe with a couple caveats, because I did have these two inked up this month. This is very similar to this, so I wouldn't ink up both of those. But maybe like, I definitely think I'll ink up all of these. Beaver Dam Brown, probably Moonstone, definitely Path, Autumn Forest, Olivine, Cloak and Forest. Yeah, I just love them all. So what do you think? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Would you not consider any of these to be fall inks? What would you add to this list? What are your favorite fall inks? Please tell me, because I'm always wanting to explore and discover new inks, as you know. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a very happy fall. If it's fall in your hemisphere. Sorry, I know in Australia it is coming into springtime, so this would probably not be up your alley right now. But I hope you have a lovely spring if you're in the southern hemisphere. All right, bye guys.